Well, congratulations to everyone there in the British Endurance Championship season opener. And look at that for the front of our next grid. A 888 Vauxhall Vectra, very much in the mould of John Cleland and company, alongside an ex-David Leslie Nissan Primera. It's Jason Hughes and Richard Wheeler on the front row. And on the second row, another Primera in the classic late 90s colours, and Super Touring legend Anthony Reid is at the wheel. Then there's a gap, and we've got the Bertie Haulage Pre-03 and the Laser Tools Pre-93 touring cars running from a combined grid. And at the front of that group, hoping to catch up with the Super Tourers, is Gary Preble, number 191 in his Honda Civic. Starting alongside him is the number 77 car of Stuart Waite with his BMW. You can just see that car, the number 77, on the right of your screen. The next row, row 6 effectively, with the gap being used, is number 4 James Everard with his BMW E30 M3. 91 Oliver Owen, who we also saw out in the Classic Thunder saloon race earlier on with his BMW. The next row, 51, another BMW of Mike Dugdale, and 45 Clint Chalmers with his M3. Another couple of pre-03 touring cars next. Ross Craig in his Honda Civic, and 137 Cavan Granger with his BMW. On row 9, the reigning pre-93 champion, which is Andy Cripps, number 1, another at BMW M3, alongside the similar car of number 148, Mike Nash, his BMW running in pre-03. Then we've got number 199, which is Matthew Hollier. He's in a Renault Clio, alongside 12 Jamie Thwaites, and he's in a Ford Sierra. Row 11, number 70 Will Hunt with his Ford Fiesta, and 30 Byron Aldous. He's at the wheel of a VW Corrado, running in pre-93. Little bit more variety in the pre-93 grid. 87 Jamie Sturgis, he's in his classic BMW E28 M535, alongside number 29 Jonathan Olive Cooper in his BMW M3. Row 13 is 361 of Lee Spencer, he's in a BMW 328i, alongside 151 Vic Hope with his Honda Civic. The next row, 153 Simon Mann in the Cadbury's liveried BMW, alongside 211 Chris Southcutt, he's in a Peugeot 205. 116 James Alford Civic, alongside the 58 of Mark Finney, he's in a Vauxhall Astra GTE. Penultimate row is 911 Eddie O'Kane, he's in a Hyundai Coupe, and 109 Oliver Jones Chapman, he's in a BMW. The final row, 86 David Clark with his now rare Renault 5 Turbo, the yellow car there, starting alongside 121 of Joe Dorrington, and he's in a Honda Civic. 3 Super Tourers keeping the gap there. Shades of John Cleland out in front. It was here at Silverstone that John Cleland ran in his last ever BTCC race at the end of the 1990s. That car of Jason Hughes was not actually raced in period. It was built as a spare shell for the 888 racing team. Competed across Europe, including in hill climbs in Central Europe, before being purchased by Jason Hughes, ex-BTCC racer himself. This will be a 20-minute race. Gary Preble will start as the favourite further back. He will try and catch up with the Super Tourers. Number 4 in there as well, that's James Everard, the beautiful E30 M3, one of the greatest touring cars of all time in the eyes of many. There's Byron Aldous, the red VW Corrado. Eddie O'Kane, the O'Kane Irish Foods car, the Hyundai Coupe. The Renault 5 Turbo from the back. Expect to have David Clark here. This will be a rolling start. 20-minute race. The green car there, Andy Cripps, number 1, the reigning pre-93 touring car champion. It's Cavan Granger, who currently holds the pre-03 touring car championship. We're on board with the great Anthony Reid. He's raced touring cars all over the world. And close to making a Formula 1 drive in the early 90s as well. He is a legend. It'd be great to see him take a win here. The ex-David Leslie Primera ahead of him. Car's owner Richard Wheeler at the wheel. The 148's there, one of the many BMWs on this grid. That's Mike Nash. Sierra there as well. That's driven by Tom Murphy. There's a couple of Sierras on the entry list. That's Jamie Thwaites, I apologise, number 12. Tom Murphy's example not out, I don't think. They're coming round towards the rolling start. They will start to form up. Can they catch the Super Tourers, the cars behind? We shall see. Safety car pulls into pit lane. Snarling pack behind, headed by Gary Preble in that very quick Honda Civic. Stuart Waite alongside him, veteran BMW racer. This is going to be something special. Notice the wipers going on a couple of these cars. One or two raindrops in the air. Here they come then, the power comes on and away they go. Super Tourers away. Jason Hughes, the former Classic Thunder champion, side by side with the number 8 of Richard Wheeler into the first corner. Anthony Reid tucks in behind. The rest of the pack will jostle for position behind as they come up towards Copse Corner, but it is Jason Hughes who's got the lead. What a great sight the three Super Touring cars make out in front. The Super Touring revival movement has been magnificent over the last few years. Further back in the order, we see the cavalry charge led by Stuart Waite. The BMW's got ahead of the Honda using its rear-wheel drive to launch away there. Mike Dugdale a bit out of shape in his BMW, the black and white car, as they start to sort themselves out. Behind there's Ross Craig in the Honda, number 169. There you go, the top three. The three Super Tourers. Stuart Waite leading the chase in fourth. Then it's Preble. Preble having a look as they come down towards Stowe Corner on the inside, try and take the lead of the Pre-03 category away. Stuart Waite is leading the Pre-93, so Preble is in front of the Pre-03s. Two grids mixed together behind the Super Tourers. Definitely a few drops of rain falling here. You can see the wipers going on David Clark's Renault 5 there. Here's the battle for the lead of the chasing pack. The Pre-93s have it at the moment with Stuart Waite. Then the Pre-03 leader Gary Preble. It's the Super Tourers out front. Hughes from Wheeler. Reid. Then the gap back to the pursuing pack. Oliver Owens' red BMW up into fourth place of that group. Tyres squeal as they fling it through Abbey, the left-hander, and you can see it's wet. You can see the rain on the camera lens, so the rain has arrived here at Silverstone. Cavan Granger and the number 12 Jamie Thwaites side by side. There's Mike Dugdale, but it is Jason Hughes who leads the way. Going round to complete their second lap of the Silverstone, their first lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit over the line. 1.3 seconds is the lead, and it is certainly wet, as you can see. Into Copse Corner they go. Oh, and Richard Wheeler's lost it there. I saw the number 8 car swap ends. He's into the gravel. The ex-David Leslie Primera goes gravel bashing. I don't think he's going to get up from there. That's a shame. Richard Wheeler looks to be out of the race. You can see how slippery it has got here. I think we're going to see a few more spinners, especially with several rear-wheel drive BMWs in a bit of strife here. There's one of them, the number 4 running out wide. That's James Everard in the DTM replica number 4. Through Beckett's they come. See Anthony Reid taking it gingerly there down the straight as the rain arrives here at Silverstone. Stuart Waite is next, then Gary Preble, James Everard, Mike Dugdale a bit further back ahead of the number 1 of Andy Cripps, the reigning Pre-93 touring car champion. It is pouring here at Silverstone. Nice to see Gary Preble with some livery on his car. That car's been plain white for the last few years. The King of Castle Coombe, as he's known. And Richard Wheeler in the gravel. And is that Anthony Reid slowing? Yes, he is. And I think he's pulling off. So we've lost 2 of our Super Tourers, the 2 Nissans, unfortunately. So Jason Hughes now flying the flag alone for our Super Touring series. There he is, way out in front. You can see the rain coming down. So Stuart Waite is now up to 2nd overall, and he leads the Pre-93 cars. Battle at the back of the field there. That's the Astra GTE of number 58, Mark Finney. Another car out of the race there, Simon Mann. He's gone off in the 153 BMW. It's really wet out there. You can hardly see as they come into village. Ross Craig going through there on the inside in his Honda Civic. The leader comes down the Wellington straights. He's going to need his Wellingtons if it gets any wetter. Jason Hughes out on his own. Stuart Waits coping well with the conditions here in second in his BMW. The Bartley BMW Specialist run car. You can hear the wind in the background as well. It's getting rough here at Silverstone. Through Luffy. Preble third. Fourth is Everard. There is Jason Hughes. The colours of Jason Plato. And rolling to a halt is Anthony Reid in the international pit lane. There's Simon Mann's car off on the entry to Maggots. Just trying to work out where that was. Another spinner, Jamie Thwaites in the Texaco Sierra. Two of those here today. We saw Mike Manning's example out earlier. That's coming through Luffield. He's gone off. And the safety car, I'm told, is being deployed. Yes, the safety car will be coming out. It is just too dangerous out there. Stuck on the grass there, Jamie Thwaites. We've got Simon Mann off as well, of course, and also Anthony Reid has come to a halt. And also, just to slow the field down while we have this rain shower, there's the Renault Clio. That's Matthew Hollier. Will Hunt in the Fiesta. Jamie Thwaites' car stuck in the mud there just before the pit lane entrance. Marshall's pushed Jamie Thwaites away. Of course, it was a four-wheel drive Sierra, he'll be able to get out of the grass there. Jason Hughes, your leader. This will close everyone up behind him, though. This will give Stuart Waits and Gary Preble perhaps a chance to attack for the overall lead. The lead gap after lap 2 was nearly 7 seconds for Jason Hughes. There's the Vectra. The colours of Jason Plato, who raced for Vauxhall at the end of the Super Touring era. Stuart Waits, who began his BMW racing career in the old production BMW series about 10 years ago in an E30 3 Series, the older square shape. Of course, the E30 M3 was the most famous. We've got one of those out in this race. Now, how many cars have we lost? One car we didn't see at the start was the Southcott Peugeot 211, Chris Southcott in his Peugeot 205. Who else have we lost? We saw Simon Mann off, Jamie Thwaites and the two Primeras have dropped out as well, so we're down to 24 cars. There's the number 29 BMW, that's John Olive Cooper with his M3, the man from Bournemouth. Needs a clutch of cars towards the back of the field. 121 there, one of our newcomers, I think that's Joe Dorrington with his Civic. There's the 30 M3, James Everard. There's Ross Craig with his Honda Civic, one of the leading pre-03 runners. Let's have a look at the different championship runners here. Pre-93 is Waite ahead of Everard, then Dugdale, Clint LeChalmers and Andy Cripps. Pre-03s, Preble leads ahead of Ross Craig and the BMW of Cavan Granger. It's the maroon and white car. Tricky to see it. There it is. You can just glimpse it there through the rain on our camera at Village with the green wheels. So once the officials are satisfied that the circuit was clear, we should get back underway. We've got just over 8.5 minutes of this race to go. Pre-93, pre-03 and Super Touring cars. Sadly just one Super Tourer now, Jason Hughes. Ahead of this group looks like Jamie Sturgis in his beautiful E28 BMW, the man who lives literally next door to Thruxton Circuit, but I think the lights are out on top of the safety car and we are ready to resume. Stuart Waite now right on the tail of Jason Hughes. This is going to shake things up a bit. Away we go, up towards the line. And we're racing once again here at Silverstone. The rain shower seems to have abated slightly, and Gary Preble goes on the attack in his pre-03 leading Honda Civic, but Stuart Waite's moving up on the outside of Jason Hughes. Look at this through Copse, they're going to go either side. The Vectra has slowed, I think, there. They're all over him, and it's going to be Stuart Waite who takes the lead, or is it because Preble is there on the inside in the Civic? Jason Hughes very slow away there through Copse. Has he got a problem? He's down to fourth. Preble with a bit of a wiggle there through Maggots into Beckett's. James Everard's up to third in the E30 M3, but it's Stuart Waite who leads in the number 77 BMW, and Hughes is down to fourth. Not too sure why he was so slow through Copse there, but Dugdale's going to try and go through now. I think that Vectra's in trouble. That's a great shame. Yeah, he's lost two more places now. Dugdale and Clint LeChalmers move through. Andy Cripps in the green BMW next in the order. Towards the left-hander into club. Waits. Preble sideways there. It is still very slippery out there. The rain you can see has abated, the rainbow in the background, but it's still very treacherous out there. Clint LeChalmers attacking Mike Dugdale as Jason Hughes continues to slip back. And it's Stuart Waite, long-time BMW racer, who leads the way, looking for victory in the pre-93 Touring Cars season opener. Here's a battle towards the back. There's Jamie Sturgis, the red and white BMW. Very beautiful car, that one. Mark Finney in the Astra GTE. Another shades of John Cleland car. Not the actual car that John won the 89 British Touring Car Championship with. Mike Dugdale sliding his BMW around. Still rain coming down. Clint LeChalmers in the Schnitzer lookalike BMW goes round the outside of it. He's coping well with the conditions here, Clint, in the number 45 through the loop, and he's up into what I think is now 5th position. Stuart Waits down into the left-hander of Brooklands. The sun is out again. There you can see the track's almost dry there. Weather never makes up its mind at Silverstone. Rain's still coming down, you can clearly see it there. The track is not wet enough to gleam, just enough to catch you out should you put the power down too heavily. Preble is second, Everard third. Those three well ahead of the rest. Preble, clear leader of the pre-03 touring cars as expected. Former champion in the Bertie Haulage pre-03 touring car championship. Had a few engine issues with the Civic last year. Mike Dugdale is back up into fourth. He's got back ahead of Clinton Sharmas. And then it's Jason Hughes. His last lap time was well off the pace. He's trying to hold off Andy Cripps there, the green BMW, the reigning pre-93 champion. Of course, it was David Griffin who did much of the winning last year, the Australian, in the Diet Coke liveried car in pre-93, but he wasn't eligible for points, unfortunately. There's the Corrado, Byron Aldous, round the outside of James Alford's Civic at Copse. Not many VW Corrados about nowadays. The famous silver example of Ken Lark is still racing in the Classic VW Cup. That's Joe Dorrington, number 121, just ahead of them, all the way from Southampton. Just about hanging on in that battle. To the Hanger Straight they go. Behind them, I think that's Vic Hope, the Brands Hatch regular for many years in his Civic. And behind them, the number 29, John Olive Cooper. This is quite a way down the order, this battle. This is for 15th place. Here's our leaders. Gary Preble. Chasing hard after Stuart Waits. It's the man from Salisbury who continues to set the pace. 3.5 minutes to go. A pot of gold in the grandstand by the look of things. It's going to be a pot of gold on the podium for Stuart Waits here if he keeps up this pace. He's done the fastest lap of the race, 2:35.349. Up and over the line he comes. Two minutes 52 left, so I think we'll get 2 more laps out of this, just about. Our second Classic Touring Car Racing Club event of the weekend. These cars will have a second race tomorrow. We're joined tomorrow by Brick Car Trophy, also by the new Prototype Cup as well. See the Pragas out in that one, along with 1 or 2 other cars. New fastest lap of the race for Gary Preble, 2:32.470. It's drying out again. He's got the gap down to 2.35 seconds. There's Oliver Owen with his BMW. He's currently running in 9th place. Newcomer to the Classic Touring Car Racing Club this season. Now, can Gary Preble catch our leader? Jason Hughes still going in 6th. The lone Super Tourer still running. Great shame he lost those lovely Nissans early on of Richard Wheeler and Anthony Reid. Still 24 cars left running. One car that didn't start, as we said, Chris Southcott in his Peugeot 205. Andy Cripps is 7th, Ross Craig 8th, Oliver Owen 9th, Cavan Granger is 10th. One car that didn't come through on that last lap was Matthew Hollier. The Renault Clio seems to have disappeared. Yes, I think he's out of the race, unfortunately. And Joe Dorrington's dropped back as well. We see him behind the number 29 there. He was at the head of this group a lap ago, so he's had a moment somewhere. Some of these cars just tiptoeing their way around in these damp conditions. 1 minute left on the clock in this combined race for the Laser Tools Pre-93 touring cars, the Super Touring Series and the Bertie Haulage Pre-03 touring cars. There's Jason Hughes. Good to see the Vectra back out. A car from towards the very end of the Super Touring era. Of course, we often see in Super Touring events Jim Pocklington with his early Cavalier, one of the very first Super Tourers ever to be built. Other cars that we've got in the pipeline, a couple of Ford Mondeos. Of course, Mark Jones has still got his ex-Plato Renault Laguna, the Nescafe liveried car. I'm hoping to see an ex-Patrick Watts Peugeot 406 in action this year as well. It's all to come in subsequent rounds, we hope. Wouldn't it be great to get Patrick behind the wheel of that car? Very busy with his daughter Amy's racing now. She competes in the Mazda MX-5 Super Cup, I believe it is, this season. She's done Citroen C1 racing as well, as has Patrick. It'd be nice to see him back at the wheel of his old Peugeot. So here come the leaders into the Hangar Straight, just between these two now. Stuart Waite and Gary Preble. Further back in third, James Everard. Here's the battle for fourth place. So Jason Hughes has got ahead of Clint Chalmers in the Schnitzer lookalike BMW, the Joachim Winkelhock colour scheme. 1993 British Touring Car Champion. Steve Soper was his teammate that year, the possibly one of the best drivers never to win the BTCC. Hughes getting a second win here in the closing laps up the inside of Mike Dugdale. As Dugdale closes the door, tries to. Good fight here for fourth place. Andy Cripps behind them. Still Craig, Owen and Granger rounding out the first 10. Matthew Hollier has reappeared. His transponder must be playing up. Apologies there to Matt. So rumours of his demise greatly exaggerated. Here's the car of Jamie Sturgis being lapped. We've seen him competing in a TCR spec Seat Cupra in the past. Lives literally in the next village to Thruxton, Hampshire circuit. He's a lap down. His classic BMW today. Clock has counted down to 0, so it looks like it is going to be checkered flag this time. Through the left at Brooklands. And just the double right at Luffield and the flick through Woodcote to the finish line. Here comes the number 77, the man from Salisbury in Wiltshire, Stuart Waite. Long-time BMW racer is coming in to win overall and win the pre-93 touring car sponsored by Laser Tools in the Bartley BMW. Stuart Waite takes the victory. The pre-03 touring car win goes to Gary Preble in second overall. And well done, James Everard, a fine third place in his classic E30 M3. Jason Hughes will win the Super Tourers. First three well clear of the field there. 8 laps completed. We wait for our fourth place fight to come home. Who's it going to be in fourth? It is Hughes. Super Tourer recovering as the conditions dried again. Fifth goes to Dugdale. Clint Chalmers sixth, just by a tenth of a second ahead of Andy Cripps. And it was Oliver Owen, Ross Craig, and I think Cavan Granger will complete the top 10. Side-by-side celebrations. Look at this. They both won their respective championship races, Preble and Waite, and they both deserve to celebrate. Surviving the rain shower. I don't think I've ever been to Silverstone on a weekend when it hasn't rained at some point. And Jason Hughes wins the Super Touring season in fourth place overall. Touring cars at their best here at Silverstone as always. Cavan Granger actually 11th, not 10th, I apologise. It was the Hollier Clio who came in 10th position. Behind them it was Will Hunt's Fiesta. David Clark from towards the back of the grid in the Renault 5 Turbo. Good run through to 13th. Mike Nash's BMW 14th. James Alford was 15th. 16th for Vic Hope. 17th went to Byron Aldous' Corrado. 18th should be Joe Dorrington's Civic. There's the Renault 5. Great to see a Renault 5 Turbo in action. That's one of the only ones racing in the UK these days, I think. Used to have whole grids of them. They had a one-make series for them back in the late 80s, early 90s, before the Clio came along. Behind them, Joe Dorrington, John Olive Cooper's BMW. Next home, Mark Finney in the Astra, I think should be next. Yes, then it's the 361, which is Lee Spencer's BMW. Eddie O'Kane's Hyundai Coupe. The last finisher on the lead lap should be the BMW of Oliver Jones Chapman. He comes in 23rd. The final finisher a lap down, Jamie Sturgis. We lost Anthony Reid and Richard Wheeler early on, unfortunately. Reid pulling off at Club, and Richard Wheeler unfortunately into the gravel. Jamie Thwaite spun out at Luffield. Simon Mann off at Maggots, and Chris Southcote's Peugeot didn't take the start. Well, we wait for the drivers to head into Parc Fermé then. Now intrepid pit reporters will be down there to talk to them.